Hi, it's Rachel with Stirring the Deep. Today I want to give you a pearl of infinite worth, and that is an understanding of the mindset of eternity, an aspect of that mindset that allows the power of God to flow into and through your life. And I've been talking about that power is love. And you're going to see how this mindset is love. And it has to do with us giving, which I mentioned in a previous video. Okay? But it goes much deeper than that. So in Psalm 96, starting verse 7, it says, "Give to the Lord, O families of the peoples, give to the Lord glory and strength. Give to the Lord the glory due his name, bring an offering and come into his courts." This give means ascribe. Ascribe to him strength and glory. Ascribe to him power. When you are ascribing to God power, you really believe that he has power and that he wants to give that power. And we know that power is always channeling with his love, because his power is a part of him. He is love. So it's all part of it. Okay, now, what is happening is this turban. Remember, I've talked about in Zechariah 3 how we're getting this turban wrapped around our head. We're getting the new garments. The new garments comes by a new mind, new heart, and all that creates. It creates this different reality, a different world that we're creating and manifesting. It's God working through us, changing all those things. Okay, and then you put on these new beautiful garments that are knit on you by God. It's God working out his power, his love, his truth in your life, it becoming a part of your life. And one of the important aspects of the mind that God shows you is that when you're coming out of death, in death you have a lacking mindset versus an abundant mindset. You have a finite mindset. That's why people want to gather to themselves, because they feel like, or not give, because they feel like they only have so much. They have a finite resources at their disposal, so they can only give so much. They want to collect, they want to hoard, they want to save, they want to draw into their self. This is all a mindset of death, not of life. It's a finite mindset. The mindset of eternity is an infinite. You have infinite resources. Now what that means is in any one moment you have more than what you need. So in any moment, whatever you're doing, you have more than enough so you can freely give. Because you as a child of God gain the inheritance of being a child. God is a resource of all things. So as you give, he's always there to provide. And when it's giving in love, that is what he desires. That is being faithful with what he's given to you. So when you give in love, he's always there filling in what you've given. And as you give and you're so faithful with that, with a little, he gives you more. Because you have learned that there's an abundance. You don't have a lacking mindset. So you're not trying to gather anything. You don't need to, because you have infinite resources. It's a mind that is, instead of being very self-focused and being of just your limited consciousness and awareness, so your self-consciousness, it is a God consciousness focus. You're focused on the power of God, the presence of God, all that he is, all that he has to give you and to give through you. And when you are allowing him and you're being faithful, so you've understood this, so you have an abundant mindset, so you willingly give, and you give without hesitation, you give without reservation. It's he says he likes a cheerful giver. Well, you cheerfully give when you have abundance. There's no fear there. There's no lack. It's an abundance. And as you give, God fills in what you've given. And so you can just continue the flow. This is a mindset of life. It is a mindset of the eternal mind. So you have infinite resources at any one moment. And this is what happens. So if you have this mindset that you have infinite resources, that you have an abundance, that you trust God as your provider, you have his inheritance. So at any one moment you have more than enough. So you are just willing to give, because it's like you have all the money that you need. So you, in any situation where there's a need, you can freely give. And in that giving, you are truly giving in love, because that's the only way you do give. If you're giving out of obligation, or because you have to, or you don't really want to but you should, you're not really giving. You only give when you love. And you can love and when you give freely, because you're not expecting anything in return, because you have infinite resources, because you have an infinite God who has infinite resources, okay, who is your Father. This is how it works in the kingdom. The kingdom starts, remember, it's from within, so it's all about your mindsets. And we're creative beings. Every moment we're creating. We're creating by our beliefs, our thoughts, our words, our actions, all that's around us. So in this process of transforming this world, regenerating this world, it all starts with our mind. And that's why these understandings of what the new mind is, what the new heart is, what that entails is so important. And understanding this concept of a finite mindset versus an infinite, a lacking mindset versus an abundant mindset, a self-consciousness mindset versus a God consciousness mindset, a taking and gathering and hoarding, it's pulling it into your self mindset versus a giving, a freely and always giving out. You're not in all that what you're doing, you're not seeking, okay, I need to gather this, I need to protect this, I need to bring this into myself. All that you're doing in every situation is you're just letting things pour through you. And it's in love. It's in love, which comes with wisdom and which comes with truth. And as you do that, you are showing yourself faithful and trustworthy, and God gives you more. And it just keeps flowing through you. And that's the true power. Because you're allowing God to really move through you. Do you see? Because you're not trying to hold anything on for yourself. You're not trying to bring everything within yourself. And you see this in the Bible when Jesus was talking to the disciples. And let me see if I can find that verse for you. It's in Matthew 5, starting verse 40. It says, if anyone wants to sue you and take away your tunic, let him have your cloak also. And whoever compels you to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him who asks you, and from him who wants to borrow from you, do not turn away. This is the principle that he's talking to. You have an abundance. You're coming into the kingdom. You have every situation that God brings you in, as he's directing your paths, and you're operating according to his wisdom and making decisions according to his wisdom, he will give you an abundance for those situations. And you have that mindset because he's directing everything, because you're seeking and walking and giving over and letting him reign your life, letting his will move through you so that you can let go and you can trust that you will have all that you need to do what you feel him leading you to do. It is a very powerful way to think, and it is a way that brings in that power of God. It ascribes power to God. You really are trusting in his power, in his provision, in his work in your life, in his workmanship in you. And there's so many things that we think and lack about time. We never have enough time. And I know that one thing that God has taught me is that to act like you have nowhere to go. Like in this moment, you're doing exactly what you need to do, and to rest in that, to be in that moment, because that's also being present minded. We're always trying to push and push into the next thing. Instead, you have an abundance. So you just rest in what you're doing. And again, when you've committed your mind, your will, your ways to God, he directs you in all wisdom. And in that wisdom is there's love, and there's always honor. So you're always honoring of other people's time as well. But your mentality is that there's no lack there. So normally we're running around here and trying to do this and that because we're thinking in lack. You know, people do this in so many ways with their life. It's not just with the giving of their resources. It's also how they respond to their own situations, their own relationships. They see relationships as always something that's taking away from them. So they're always trying to protect and to gather and to bring in. And if that's your mentality of lack, you're not loving. Because loving is a giving out. That's what God consciousness means. He is love. So if you're focused on his pure consciousness, it's going to be this love that is going out. Versus if you're a self-conscious, you're so concerned about self. So you're always trying to bring everything in. So when you are giving and pushing things out so that God can move through you, you grow and you expand. That's expansion. That's life. When you are bringing in like this is restricting, that is death. Because you ultimately come to where you're not giving or expanding at all, because you're bringing it in the opposite direction of expansion. So expansion and giving and pouring it out freely in love is growth, and growth is life. This truly is a pearl of an infinite price, because this is one way, because we're going to go through this renewing of our mind, but this is one renewing of our mind that we go through that moves the power of God into our life and then into our reality. And this is what we've been seeking. We've had, it's that fusion of the truth and the love, and now it's moving out in power, and having this mindset is what allows that love, that truth to move and flow into your life. Because if you're thinking in lack and not in abundance, if you're thinking finite and not infinite, if you're thinking in taking and not giving, you're not allowing that to flow through you and into your life. Till next time, keep stirring the deep. It's the one thing that changes everything else.